Sri Gurubhyo Nama children, today we are going to talk about stability of coordination compounds. So, we are going to discuss about the stability of coordination compounds and what is the stability actually. We are going to see how the central metal ion and the ligand associates, how they are coming closer, how effective they are, how they are coming closer, how effective they are. We are going to see in detail. Shall we see children? This we are going to like a derivation it will be. So I want everybody to be ready with your notebook. So shall we start children? Okay, so I am going to start now. Stability of coordination compounds. What do you mean by stability? Association of central metal ion and ligand. Association of central metal ion and the ligand in the coordination compound. Association of central metal ion and the ligand in the coordination compound. That talks about stability. So how can we talk about the stability? What is the information? What is that we need for stability? We have to see the association of central metal ion and ligand. The central metal ion and ligand, how far they have associated, how effectively they have joined. So it talks about the stability of the coordination compound. A complex, for example, to determine the stability constant for example, M plus L gives ML, where stepwise stability constant is equal to active mass of ML divided by active mass of M into active mass of L. And what is the second step? This is the first step. What is the second step? So see the product here. What is the product here in the first step? ML. So ML combines with one more molecule of L. So what is that you will be getting? It is a reversible reaction. So you will be getting ML2. What is that you will be getting? ML2. What is K2? Write the product in the numerator in the square bracket. Write the product in the numerator in the square bracket. Write the reactants in the square bracket in the denominator. So what is the product here? ML2. What are the reactants here? ML into L. And what is the third step? ML2 plus L. ML2 plus L gives, what is that? ML3. What is this ML3? This is the product formed here. What is K3? Active mass of ML3, product should be in the numerator divided by reactant should be in the denominator. Active mass of ML2 into active mass of L. If it is ML n minus 1, ML n minus 1 plus L, what is that you will be getting? MLN. What is the compound we are getting here? MLN. What is K4 here? KN here. Actually, what is the product here? MLN, which should be in the numerator. Divided by, what is the reactant here? MLN minus 1 into, what is the other reactant? L. Let us continue, children. We are going to continue from where we have stopped. So what is the last equation I have written? Kn is equal to MLN divided by MLN minus 1 into L. K1, K2, K3 that we have written above. That we have written above. That we have written above is the stepwise stability constant. Stepwise stability constant. K1, K2, K3 are the stepwise stability constant. The next one we are going to continue. K1, K2, K3, it can be called as stepwise stability constant. The overall stability constant, the overall stability constant for the formation of MLN from MLN minus 1 and L is beta n. The overall stability constant for the formation of MLN from MLN minus 1 and L is beta n. Now, stepwise stability constant should be equated stepwise stability constant should be equated to overall stability constant. Overall stability constant. Therefore, how we are going to equate? Beta n is equal to, so what is beta n? This is overall stability constant. Overall stability constant. So it should be equated to stepwise stability constant. What are stepwise stability constant? K1 into K2 into K3 so on to Kn. And what is this K1, K2? Already I told you, they are the stepwise stability constant. Taking log on both the sides, taking log on both the sides, taking log on both the sides, what will happen? Take log beta n log beta n is equal to log k1 plus log k2 plus log k3 so on to log kn. And here when you talk about m and l, m and l are central metal ion and the ligand. Central metal ion and the ligand. Okay, if it is, we have calculated stability constant. If they are asking instability constant, if it is instability constant, if it is instability constant, if it is instability constant, it should be the reciprocal of, it should be the reciprocal of stability constant. Instability means it should be the reciprocal of stability constant. So finally what you can write, how can we calculate what is that instability constant? The beta dash n. Beta dash n is equal to 1 by beta n. What is beta dash n? What is beta dash n? It is instability constant. Instability constant. Beta dash n is the instability constant. Children, now we are going to see the bonding in metal carbonyls. We are going to see how stable the bond between the central metal ion and carbon monoxide. We are going to see now. So we can call it as bonding in metal carbonyls. Shall we see, children? Be ready with your notebook. Bonding in metal carbonyls. Here there are two different types of bond formation. Two types of bond formation. First one, there are two types of bond formation in metal carbonyls. The first one, sigma bond formation. Sigma bond formation, that is donation of electron pair, donation of electron pair from the carbonyl carbon, from the carbonyl carbon to the vacant orbital, to the vacant orbital, vacant d orbital of central metal ion, vacant d orbital of central metal ion. So this is called sigma bond. Sigma bond or dative bond. Sigma bond or dative bond. So here first I told about the bond formation. There are two types of bond formation. What is the first step? That is sigma bond formation. What is sigma bond formation? That is the carbonyl carbon of carbon monoxide. So it will donate a pair of electron to the vacant orbital of central metal ion. So carbon from carbon monoxide, carbonyl group. So it is donating the lone pair of electron to central metal ion. Face to face overlap. So here both the central metal ion and the ligand, they are overlapping like this. Linear overlapping, face to face overlapping. So what type of bond we are getting here? Sigma bond, or we can call it as a dative bonding. The next one we are going to talk about pi bond. Second one we are going to talk about pi bond formation. Pi bond formation. The central metal ion donates the electron pair to the vacant antibonding orbital of a ligand. So this is pi bond. Or we can call it as back bonding. So what is the first one? Sigma bond. The carbonyl group, it donates the electron pair to central metal ion. Central metal ion accepts the electron pair. Face to face overlap, sigma bond formation or dative bond. What is second one? The central metal ion already accepted the electron pair from the ligand. So what it does? The electron density of the central metal ion increases. As a result, what is happening? It starts to donate the electron pair to the antibonding orbital of the ligand. So here the central metal ion, first step it accepts the electron pair. In the second step, whatever it has accepted, it is donating back to the ligand molecule. We can call it as back bonding. So this is called as back bonding. Here what type of bond formation is taking place? Pi bond. Here the orbitals are overlapping sideways or lateral overlapping. So lateral overlapping of the orbitals give rise to pi bond. So here we can call it as pi bond or back bonding. Now we are going to see the orbital diagram. So here the central metal ion is shifting the electron pair here, it is donating the electron pair here. So here we can get sigma bond. This is the ligand molecule donating the electron pair to the central metal ion. So this is sigma bond. So the central metal ion, after accepting the electron pair, it is back bonding, donates once again the same electron pair to the pi antibonding molecular orbital. So we can call it as back bonding. So this is called as synergic effect. This gives synergic effect. Synergic effect which strengthens which strengthens the stability, of central metal ion and the carbonyl group. And the carbonyl group.